And here it is, my test Pivot Shuttle SL. I was so excited. Finally arrived late last week, and I've been riding it every day, doing my test measurements that E-MTBr is famous for. I was about to publish this morning, but I said, whoa, 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 something is up, something is wrong. Something is wrong with the time measurement. So I had to go back this morning and do a couple more tests. And what I discovered will surprise you. This is Pivot's entry into the very competitive mid-powered bike arena. These are the bikes with less power, less battery, but less weight as well. So it should be the best riding e-bikes around. We'll see. And then what they brought to the table was the Fazua Ride 60 motor. They are probably the first US manufacturer to use this motor, and this came out about maybe 11-12 months ago, this bike. And so some friends have been using it, and I go, man, I gotta get my hands on. So here it is. And like I said, I've been riding it a lot. First, let me describe to you the bike, and I'll tell you my results that I promised in the intro. So it is a mid-powered bike, 130, 150 travel, full suspension travel, DW Link. It has a Fazua Ride 60. They claim 60 Newton meters, 450 watts on a 430 watt-hour battery. And the pricing is $9,000 to $13,200. And this one is the XDR version, the nice rowdy version, and this one's $13,000. And it weighs in, according to my scale, 39.2 pounds without pedals. And with pedals, just spank pedals, not lightweight ones, 40 pounds, 39.99 to be exact. So pretty cool. I was pretty pumped because it had decent tires. What do we got? Dissector and Maxxis DHR2 in the front. Really good stuff. Dual piston brakes all around. So they use Shimano XDR, but paired with Galfer rotors. So they wanted to save weight. And I've been riding this a bunch. I talked to Chris at Chris Kokales, founder of Pivot. They had me ride the new Pivot Shuttle A. I'm gonna compare the two, by the way, on the next video. And I said, hey, give me that bike, And it was all like, just wait. There's a new release. There's a new release of firmware. Since Sea Otter, new release of firmware. I think also since they were the first user for the Fazua Ride 60, they had to iron out bugs with that manufacturer. It's a German manufacturer. And I was hearing some problems here and there. It's first release, right? So I was like, okay, I'll wait. And so he sent it to me. I've had 3 rides so far, and they've been good. And I'm aware of the problems of other people had in the past. So I've definitely got my radar out for those things. But the key thing that I wanted to share with you was my climbing test. So I think even Chris respects my climbing test, because what I do is I put power meter pedals on this, and I have the constant climb, 1 mile, 500 feet, very simple, no braking, constant power, full gas on the motor, and then 200 watts for my legs. So it's something that I'm very consistent with, that I can measure a bike here and there. So let's get to the test riding, and first I'm gonna let you hear the sound of the motor. And there it is, full boost with a GoPro, all speakers on, pointed up, single track, so you can kind of hear it echo. And now we're gonna put on the fire road. So there, as you can see, this Fazua Ride 60 is the quietest motor around, even more quiet than the Trek TQ motor. It is crazy quiet. You just hear the sound of the tire crunching on the ground, the shifting, and my breathing are much louder than the motor itself. And this is on full boost. And now let's get to the main event, the time up the test hill. And it is 6 minutes and 18 seconds. So this is the test hill, 1 mile long, about 530 feet of climbing. The Fazua Ride 60 is put on full power, and the rider myself puts out 200 watts of power average, and I try to get close to 200 the whole way up. 618 is very fast. It's much faster than the Heckler SL and the Transition Relay, which use the same motor. And because of that, I had to do this test 7 or 8 times. I had to keep repeating it, make sure I had good data, because it just did not make sense to me initially. In a later slide, I'll show you all the other bikes I've tested on this course for comparison. But to give you a glimpse, the Heckler SL was 652 and the Transition Relay was 654. So we did notice that this bike is faster than the other bikes running the same motor, the Fazua Ride 60. Some possible reasons are, one, Fazua has been doing a lot of fixes and firmware updates, and one of them pertains to the responsiveness of the motor. The other is the bike manufacturers themselves work with Fazua to have different tunes for the motor. They sometimes optimize for responsiveness, realism, or range. And a couple other reasons are the bike itself. It's a 39.9 pound bike with pedals, so this is the lightest of the group, and they're all running Maxxis tires, DHR, but this one has the lightest wheels that we've seen. Really tricked out wheels that seem to spin up faster. Also, this bike has rotor cranks that are very stiff and are very light, so good rotational weight. And finally, the bike itself, 130 millimeters of rear travel, is tuned to be responsive and kind of sprightly. It kind of seems to not be plush, but it kind of helps you with pedaling efficiency, in our opinion. And finally, I'll share with you the slide where it shows the results of many of the bikes that I've tested. The Pivot Shuttle SL 9% battery used at the time was 618. And you can see the Heckler SL 652 and the Transition Relay 654. Something in the middle there is the Levo SL, 14% battery used, so a lot smaller battery, 651 for that one. The Emtbr rise right on top of the Shuttle is 540, so it is very fast. It's 60 Newton meters, but it is almost as fast as most full powered bikes. And finally, the EP8 525, the Gen 3 Levo 508, and the king is the Boss CX Race at 443. So, other impressions, obviously 39 pounds. It feels, my thing was like, man, this feels more like a trail bike than my other trail bikes. It felt so light and poppy. And then on the punchy climbs, on the rollers and whatnot, a lot of my trail bikes right now, once you put assegais on them, they're kind of doggy. But this is sprightly all the way up and down and whatnot. So that's kind of the new description I have for these mid-powered bikes, is they feel a little more lively than even an analog bike, because up and down, there's no trail is completely downhill or completely flat. The geometry, by the way, 65.5 on here. And then on the head tube and on the seat angle, it's 76.5. It's pretty good. And then the chainstay is a 29 or 29 at 432 on the chainstay, so pretty darn short. But something unusual is the reach is 469. 469 for a medium is crazy long. So I have my seat quite a bit forward, and I do feel super comfortable with a stubby stem. But there you go, my first impressions. I'm gonna have a lot more content on this, but it's kind of like a rocket in the mid-powered sense. All right, thanks a ton, everybody.